Ladies and gentlemen, we're calling this meeting of the West Valley Water District Board of Directors to order for March 21st. It is about 6:04 in the PM. We're going to start with the roll call of board members.
Thank you. Director Garcia?
Present.
Director Moore?
Present.
Director Hawkins?
Present.
Vice President Jenkins?
Present.
President Young?
Present.
All five are present. Thank you.
Okay, and then we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Director Moore, would you lead us in the pledge? Sure.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and for this evening's invocation, we have Pastor Vernon Townsend on the line. Pastor Townsend, if you'd lead us in the opening invocation, please.
Sure will. Thank you so much. Just Father in heaven, we thank you so much for just this opportunity to come to talk about the affairs for our local area through the West Valley Water District. We ask, Father, for peace. We ask for unity. We ask for harmony, Father, as things are discussed and as projects are done, as things move forward, Father. And we're thankful for all of the positive things that have transpired. We're even thankful, Father, for sometimes we may get in to differences of agreement, Father, but as we can come out in a peaceful manner, in one accord, we're thankful for that. Be with each and every person on the board, not only during this meeting, Father, but just at their homes and at their places of employment in the community, Father, that they may just have that reputation of being a fair person, that they may have the reputation of just being a peaceful-minded person. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. All right, before, did you want to do it now or after public comment, John?
We can do it now.
Okay.
That works for you.
All right.
Yeah,
go
we
ahead.
have 3 new employee introductions. And Linda, can you start us out?
Okay. On Monday, March 11th, we welcomed Bruce Miller to the West Valley team. Bruce is our new GIS administrator and comes to us with a wealth of GIS experience in both water agencies and municipalities. Bruce was instrumental in West Valley's initial GIS data conversion back in 2016, and we look forward to see where he will take our program in the future. Bruce, would you please come up and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Is this on? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Linda. You said it. You said a lot, but yes, I've been in GIS now for almost 30 years. I worked on the private sector up until now, but I've worked with public agencies for most of my career, specifically with the water agencies. I worked with a lot of surrounding water districts as well, like East Valley Water and Western Municipal and Eastern Municipal Water as well. So I'm very excited, though, to be here. Great people.
Great. Welcome so much.
All right. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
And Bill has a couple.
Microphone, sir.
Thank you. I have 2 people I'm very proud to introduce tonight. The first one I'm going to introduce is Darnell Williams. Darnell is our new CSR1, Customer Service Rep number 1. He comes to us with over 20 years of customer service experience. He's worked in retail, engineering, and logistics in his different treks along the way before he came here to us. He's local. He went to Fontana High School, so I wouldn't either hold that against him or for him, but at least you know. He's also a current resident in San Bernardino, so again, he's remained local, and we're very proud to have him. I'm proud because of his experience, and also he has this infectious smile and just makes you feel good, and that's the type of people we need in that line. So, Darnell, do you want to come up and say a couple words for us?
Well, hello everyone. Nice to meet you again. I'm Darnell. I've had many years in experience working in different fields, as Bill said. I'm happy to be here, West Valley, and just look forward to getting to know a fruitful career in this field.
All right. Okay. Welcome.
Thank you. And next up is our latest hire. He's been here, what is it, 2 weeks now? So, and his name is Manny. 1 day or 1 week? I'm sorry.
3 days.
It seems like a lot longer, but his name is Emmanuel Salazar. We call him Manny. Manny comes to us. He has 6 years of professional experience. He's been both in public accounting and he's worked in government agencies. His most recent one is Omnitrans. He is a CPA. He has a master's degree in accounting. He's a San Bernardino native. Went to Cal State San Bernardino, and he's really got an outstanding set of skills. I've had a firsthand chance working with him on our budget presentation along with Gus, and I'm very proud to have him. So would you mind coming up and saying a few words too?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. There's a statistic flying around that I remember reading when I was in high school, something about there's the average person has more fear of speaking in public than death. That's me right here. So with that being said, I'm really grateful. And everybody has been really nice to me, so that makes it a lot easier.
Oh, good.
And yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Right, welcome aboard.
Coro has an announcement.
Good evening, Board of Directors. This evening, I'm excited to announce the promotion of Mary Jo Hartley from Public Outreach and Government Affairs Representative to Senior Public Outreach and Government Affairs Representative. Throughout her time at West Valley Water District, Mary Jo has been an instrumental force in advancing the Public Outreach and Government Affairs Department forward. She has constantly demonstrated unwavering dedication and exceptional skills in strategic communication, strategy development, advocacy efforts, internal and external communication, and relationship building. Her contributions have played a significant role in the department's growth and success within the water industry. Please join me in congratulating Mary Jo on this well-deserved promotion.
All right.
Coming to the podium.
What a wonderful.
Yeah.
You don't get out that easy.
Yeah, you don't get to wiggle out of this.
I thought I could.
Oh, no.
Thank you, boss. I am super excited about this opportunity to continue serving our communities here at the West Valley Water District. And I want to thank my mentors, my colleagues who have helped me along the way. Go West Valley.
Congratulations.
Great, thank you. All right, so now we'll go to public participation for the closed session items.
Thank you. 1 second. Here we go. Members of the public may participate and give public comment in one of 4 ways. In person at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone by calling 888-475-4499, access code 840-293-7790, via Zoom with access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wvwd.org.
Okay, have we received a request for public comment?
We've received none in person, via email, and I don't think we have anybody on Zoom.
Doesn't look like it, unless Albert has something to say. All right, seeing no one jumping up to the podium, we'll go ahead and recess into closed session.
Yours is first. I didn't realize that. I thought I was looking for it.
You don't want a fun-loving lawyer, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Didn't expect that. I said I didn't expect. I did.
Ready, John? Ready?
Sure.
All right, we ready, Albert? Okay. All right, we're coming back from closed session. Mr. General Counsel, will you do the report out, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Board met in closed session on all 4 items listed. The evaluations were conducted for the first 2. There was direction to labor negotiator on the second 2, but no other reportable action.
Great, thank you so much. All right, board, before us, we have an agenda for this evening. I have no request to pull any items from staff, so I'll entertain a motion on the agenda.
Mr. President, I motion that we accept the agenda as presented.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Yeah, first by Vice President Jenkins, a second by Director Moore. No discussion, so Madam Clerk?
Thank you. I'll take a vote. Director Garcia?
Yes.
Director Moore?
Yes.
Director Hawkins?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
And President Young?
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
All right, public participation?
Thank you. Members of the public may participate and give public comment in one of 4 ways: in person at West Valley Water District's Administrative Boardroom, via telephone by calling 888-475-4499, access code 840-293-7790, via Zoom with access code 840-293-7790, or via email to administration@wvwd.org.
All right, well, I see Director June Hayes has her hand up, so I'll get with her in a moment, but had we received anything via email or previously?
We did receive one via email, but I'll let Director Hayes go first so that I
Okay.
can look at that. Thanks.
Sure. All right, June, you're up.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to comment on the WELL conference that was attended by a couple of your directors and myself, and let the board know how very helpful your fellow directors were in helping me manage getting around and getting things done. We had a lot of, I'm going to call it fun, but it was, when I say fun, I don't mean ha ha and all that stuff. I mean productive. We had a lot of productive discussions and hung out together. And it was just great. And I just want to thank you all for helping me out with the things that I'm weak on during that conference. And thank you for helping me out. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, June. And our other comment, you said we had one?
Yes, we did receive one via the email, and this was from Mr. Jonathan Butler. And he writes, comments for board meeting. Dear President Young, Vice President Jenkins, Director Garcia, Director Moore, and Director Hawkins, I am seeking your board's support for my candidacy to represent special districts on LAFCO, LAFCO. I wish I could attend your board meeting in person, but regrettably, I'm unable to attend because of family event. Serving as a special district trustee, I am intimately familiar with the unique dynamics and challenges our special districts face. I know that the work LAFCO has long-lasting implications for cities and special districts throughout the region, and I believe that we must all work together to ensure a broadly successful region with development that helps our communities and regional economy. I am fully committed to fostering open dialogue and collaboration, and as your representative, remain readily accessible and receptive to the invaluable input from West Valley Water District. Your thoughtful consideration is deeply appreciated, and I am genuinely grateful for the opportunity to serve your community in this capacity. Again, I am sorry that I cannot be there in person, but I certainly look forward to attending one of your board meetings in person someday. Sincerely, Jonathan Butler, candidate LAFCO 2024.
Okay. When is, do did he indicate when this election is?
No other information was given.
Perhaps, John, maybe you and Elvia can look into that,
Sure.
and maybe we can bring it back to a future meeting to not only look at Mr. Butler or just who else might be also looking at it, if there's sufficient time to consider it before whatever deadline LAFCO
I'll
has.
report by Monday on LAFCO elections. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Any other public comments that we've received?
None that were received in person or via email, and I'm not sure on.
Okay. Is there anyone else on Zoom or in the audience who would like to address the body at this time? If so, please come on up or raise your hand on Zoom. Okay. Seeing no one else, I'll go ahead and close public participation. And that'll bring us to presentations.
Thank you. Today we have an update to the 2021 Development Impact Fee Study, and a lot has changed internally and externally since that study was completed. So last year the board directed us to reach out to our consultant and update that report. So tonight we have that here for you. And Linda, can you please bring us the details and introduce our presenter, please?
Thank you, John. President Young, members of the board, as part of the strategic plan's goals for effective financial stewardship, the district commissioned RDN to update the development impact fee study that they prepared for the district in 2021. We are evaluating these rates to make sure that they are correctly stated, that they are not too high and that they're not too low. We want fees to be fair to all. The objectives of this update were to ensure compliance with current state regulations regarding development impact fees, to provide revenue analysis of recommended development impact fees and fire service capacity charges. The practice of periodic evaluation of rates follows best practice to ensure that there is equity among all interested parties. This item is not up for voting this evening. It's an informational item, and we plan to bring it back at a later date. As we move forward, we will have public outreach to ensure that all interested parties are aware of any financial impacts. We are lucky to have RDN as our consultant on this project, and with us here tonight is Anthony Alowski to go over the results of the study. Please welcome Mr. Alowski.
Welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, board, for taking the time to review this with us. I have this clicker, and it's supposed to work, so we'll see. It works a little too well here. And so we have been working on this study, and this is an update to your previous study. So we looked at all of the numbers from the previous study and wanted to make sure that those are matching what today's values are. Before I get started, Ms. Gutierrez, she was intrinsic to updating these numbers and seeing what the district currently looks like compared to what it was prior. All right, so what is a development impact fee? Basically what it does is it makes sure that there's intergenerational equity, as we call, so current customers are not paying to hold capacity for future customers without being reimbursed. It's a one-time fee that's paid when a new customer joins the system, so it's paid by developers when they build a new development, and it's paid for that additional either capacity that's available in the system or to produce new capacity, which is in the capital improvements that are needed for new development. And like I said, the ultimate goal is to have equity for today's customers and tomorrow's customers built in to the system. There's three main approaches to designing these fees. One is the buy-in method, and that's where new customers pay for the capacity that's currently in the system. There's incremental costs, which is where new customers pay for the capital improvement projects that are needed to pay for their growth, for the additional capacity that's needed in the system. And the approach that we took during this study and is used by agencies that have some capacity available but also need new capacity for additional customers to join in the future is called the hybrid method, and that uses current values of the system as well as capacity that's needed for the additional CIP. And we've just updated this method. This is the method that the district has been using for the last few of these studies. So these numbers may look familiar if you hear when they were adopted previously, but again, this is an update of those. So what we do when we look at the system value, we have to come up with the total value in today's dollars of everything that's in the ground and all the assets for the system, and we call them the backbone assets. So we look at that total value divide it by the actual capacity that's in the system to get a unit value for each of the asset components. In addition, then we do the capacity for capital improvement projects. We look at the cost, and these are also will be projected costs of capital improvements into the future, and put that in today's dollars and divide that by the ultimate capacity that is going to be provided by each of those capital improvements to get a unit cost for that. Then we add those two unit costs together and multiply it by a standard number of units per EDU, and that is 220 gallons per capita per day. So one of the main drivers for the increase in the future fees that we're showing you today is that there's been a huge increase in what we call the construction cost index. And basically what the construction cost index, it takes a dollar value and looks at how the same box of items, they call it, has changed in cost between a certain period of time and the present. So you can see in the last 3 years, and inflation has been happening everywhere, but especially in construction costs, those have increased approximately 34% since the last study was done in 2021. So that's actually an increase to the value of all the system assets, because if you have to replace those assets, that cost is going higher, as well as capital improvement projects that are happening are going to cost more in the future based on that. So the total of the increased allowable assets for the buy-in portion is up about 38 million over the previous study. And when we look at what the total buy-in portion is, it includes not only the fixed assets, but we try to make it fair between current and future customers. So we want to reduce that amount by the total amount of capacity charge revenue that's been collected to this date, because that revenue has been in turn used to build those assets. We add the capital reserves because current customers have put money into these reserves, and we want future customers to buy in at the same level for that fairness. And then also the debt service payments. We don't want new customers to come in and pay for debt service twice, basically in the capacity fee, and then again as they are a customer paying for those debt service principal. So when we look at the total asset value in the 2021 study, it was 175 million approximately. That's gone up to about 214 million in the last 3 or 4 years. So we can see that 38.6 million increase, and those are the buy-in. So those are for the current capacity. And that does include some of the capital improvement projects as well. They've been shifted. They've been completed, so they are currently in the asset list instead of the capital improvement list. And then for the incremental portion, and this is the same list of capital improvement projects that are outlined in the master planning documents. However, because of the total cost to produce or construct them has gone up so much in the last few years, this total cost has also gone up approximately 36 million. Again, that's a 34% increase. If projects have been completed, we've removed them from the list. However, this is the remaining projects that are there. So when we combine those together, and again, we divide it by, in the first case of the buy-in, the available capacity in the system currently, we get a unit cost basically of $4,000 for the buy-in portion in 2021, which has gone up to about $4,900. For the incremental portion, and this is for the capital improvement projects that are needed, it goes from about $10,000 to $11,700. And the total difference is approximately 16.89%. The district has escalated these costs 3.37% per year, and that was done based on knowing that these costs are going to increase at a standard inflation level. However, the inflation has been significantly higher than was projected at the time. So the total difference between the ultimate number that you're at now and the future number is slightly different from each other. So if we look at those, and there is going to be an increase scheduled already in 2024, and it'll be July 1st, 2024. Your current capacity fees by meter size are shown in the middle column there, or in the left column. The middle column shows the schedule increases, And then the proposed fees from the current study, looking at all of the inflationary adjustments that are needed, is shown under proposed fee. And the difference between the proposed fee and the scheduled 2024 is the blue numbers on the far right column. So if you do nothing, I believe that then those scheduled at 7/1/2024 will be implemented, or that'll already be there. However, we are suggesting that you do increase a little bit higher to match the inflation that's happened if you want to keep this intergenerational equity. Did you have a question?
I do. Sorry for the interruption.
Oh,
but
no, great.
Is this the proposed difference per meter? Or
Correct. Yep. So the 5/8 3/4 inch meter under the current rates currently is 15,302. Will be 15,818, and then we propose that difference of $918 per 3/4 inch meter.
Okay, so just another question on this
Mhm.
slide. How many meters? Do we have a lot of meters that are 4 or 6 or 8?
Pretty rare, probably.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
No? Oh. Sorry, Linda, I'm on the spot.
Your microphone.
The majority of our meters are 1-inch meters for residential.
So the 6 or 8 would be more like for the commercial buildings, or where would we see those?
6 or 8 could be for a larger building, or it could be for if we had a development with a master meter.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? I know I'm moving fast. They said I had about 3 to 5 minutes on this one, so I didn't want to bore you with too many details.
You're fine.
All right, so those are the results, and then I believe we put together this slide for the next steps that need to be taken. Again, this will be brought for a real vote, I think, in the near future, depending on how tonight goes. But we have given a draft report, which we'll finalize, that we'll provide for the district, and you can disseminate that to anybody that's impacted. And district staff will also provide their own report, it looks like. And then I believe there will be some public outreach efforts. This primarily affects developers rather than individual customers. For current customers, it's actually good for them because it's a reduction in the amount of the potential rate increases in the future, because these capital improvement projects are actually being funded by new customer versus having to do it from the current customers. And I guess any other questions for me? Our staff is available for questions as well.
Any other questions? Nope. Thank you so much for the presentation, and I know we'll be discussing this a little bit further in the future.
Cool. Thank you. Have a great
so
night.
Much.
Ooh, too close.
All right. Okay, so that concludes our presentations. So now that'll bring us to the consent calendar. We can bring that up here. All right, so board, we have 7 items on the consent calendar this evening. Unless anyone wants to pull anything for separate discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I motion that we accept the consent calendar as presented.
Okay, I have a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, first by Jenkins, second by Moore.
Okay, we'll take a roll. Director Garcia?
Yes.
Director Moore?
Yes.
Director Hawkins?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
President Young?
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
All right, so now we'll go to the business items. So the first one up, we have the online credit card fees.
The online payment credit card fees. This is another one of the budget initiatives, one of those 10 initiatives that Bill outlined last year. And this particular one is really a tremendous story on this, which will result in literally millions of dollars in savings to the district starting in just a few months here. Great work by Bill and his team, and Bill has the details in a presentation.
Thank you, John, and good evening, Board President and Vice President and Directors. This particular presentation on the online payment credit card fees and third-party billing and collection software is definitely a team effort. I'd like to introduce the team members. Gustavo, our finance manager, our newly Minted Finance Manager. Albert Yulo, who is our customer service supervisor and was the project manager lead on this project, who will also be presenting tonight, will be co-presenters. And then Albert Klinger in the back, he was our IT technical person to make sure that if we were to entertain something that we would be able to do it from a technical perspective. Along with the team that we went through several sessions with the Finance Committee. We had 3 separate meetings with the Finance Committee where we had entertained proposals, and we took the top 3 proposers and we had one meeting for each proposer to go over the specifics of their product, how it works, and they actually did demonstrations. And collectively at the end of the 3 presentations, it was a unanimous decision to move forward with iPay Smart. So with that, let me go ahead and do a little bit more of the overview. This was actually an item that fit under the effective financial stewardship, one of the key strategic plan goals of the district. Of that, the key initiative that this falls under is to examine cost savings opportunities. This was originally generated by the finance team, where we sat down one day and tried to figure out how can we save money for the district. And we took a look at our own internal costs within our department, and we realized that there were some areas where we thought the difference could be made. And so that's really what spawned this particular project. And as a result, we believe that we have something that'll be very beneficial, as John indicated, for the future. Right now, the district is incurring about $722,000 in costs for our billing and collection activities. That's a lot of money that we're spending, and we felt that there was some opportunity for us to make some improvements. So as I mentioned, we assembled a team. We needed somebody with IT expertise, because although we know something about IT, we're not experts, so we wanted to make sure that we're marching down the right path. So Albert was an integral part of our team. Upon going through this whole process, we're going to have two items tonight that kind of interchange and weave together. One is the switching to a third-party software, and secondly is to entertain the idea of customers absorbing the credit card fees when they make those payments. So with that, next slide, please. To give you a backdrop of our costs done on an annual basis, and this is just our current year costs. We've escalated them so you get an idea of what it costs per year. This includes the credit card fees, also includes the checking ACH fees, so if somebody pays by check online, and then the bill printing costs. Right now, for every bill that we print, it costs the district 73 cents. That includes the postage, that includes the bill, that includes the envelope, and the cost for InfoSend to send it out. So that we're spending $210,000 a year on. And then our enterprise software group, Tyler, is also charging us these fees. And these are things that have kind of crept up. We thought when we bought it, the software, we didn't know we were going to get tagged with all these extra fees just to do our processing. And it's substantial, as you can see. So in total, we're spending $722,000 a year. So we thought there was an opportunity where we could make a difference. Next slide. So in order to do that, we decided to take a look at what other districts are doing, and we did it in a couple ways. We contacted people, but we also did a survey, and we came back with 4 key observations. The first is that Tyler's charging high fees for what they're doing for us. It was something that each year they've jacked the fees up. Every year they jack them up, and it's gotten to the point where it's over a couple $100,000 a year. It doesn't make sense. We found from our surveys that there are third-party software companies that will do the same thing, and we don't have to have those fees any longer. And we also found that these companies have worked and have integrated with our Tyler accounting system in the past, that it's pretty much a standard fare. In fact, it's interesting, just anecdotally, Eastern is going through this same process right now that we're going through. So Eastern District and Western District are going through this same analysis simultaneously. And coincidentally, they've also picked iPay Smart to be their service provider going forward. So just found that out tonight, that they're redlining contracts as we speak. So it looks like we're on the same page with them. Secondly, we found that there's a opportunity to charge a convenience fee for those customers that choose to use a credit card. Right now, that's the costliest form of cost internally that we're generating. We're picking up $238,000 a year by people that choose to pay by credit card. Next slide. So we wanted to share with you a little bit about what utilities and municipalities are doing, and this is some of what we found, that third-party software provides a lower operating cost for us. Their software that they provide is very user-friendly. It's actually easier to use than what we use now, and it integrates with our existing software, and also they integrate with InfoSend. InfoSend is the company that actually stuffs and mails the bills and sends them out. And that marketing tools that they have for the third-party software is going to actually encourage online payments. The more that we send online, more people that have online, as opposed to us sending out a bill, we save that 73 cents. We'd rather have that 73 cents in our pocket. So we know through that process, we're going to be able to integrate. They usually have quite a drastic rate where they're able to make people, through advertising campaigns, to increase the number of people to go online. And that's the trend right now anyway. We're following the trend. So through the process, when we did our outreach, we found that there was 3 companies that really stood out among the others. One was Invoice Cloud, the second was iPay Smart, and the third was Nuvei. So as I indicated, we gave a meeting to each one of them for the finance committee, where we had representatives come in. They demonstrated their product, they answered questions, and we came back, and then the next step is we actually analyzed their proposals. So next slide, please. So this is a summary of the analysis of the 3, what we call the key points within the proposal. And I'm going to have Alberto Yulo go over some of these with you, and you'll get an idea of how we analyzed this to come up to the answer that we did.
Is the microphone on?
Okay. Hello.
There we go.
So, like Bill was saying, we analyzed 3 vendors: Invoice Cloud, iPay Smart, and Nuvei. And we're really interested with iPay Smart. With their credit card rate, they're at $2.25, and that's a fixed rate, and it doesn't fluctuate. So customer makes a payment $100, $500 is still $2.25. And also, they're the lowest evaluated cost for the district and the least cost for our customers. We also look at the platform itself, and we want to make sure it is user-friendly. So there's a couple new features is going to be added to our system. Phone payments, which is our IVR. It's more intuitive. So customer calls in, recognize a number, it can pull up the customer's account information right away. And that's going to be less prompts for our customers, so it's easier for them to use. And another feature will be added is text and pay. So customers gets a new bill, a past due amount, they'll get a text and they can pay it right there and then. So we don't have that right now, so that'll be an upgrade. And then finally, we want to make sure that they have experience with Tyler. IT, Albert Klinger, really helped us with this. We want to make sure it's going to be a smooth transition. We want to make sure there's not going to be any interruption when we switch with iPay Smart. So let me just tell you a little bit about iPay Smart. They are affiliated with Smart Energy Water, established in 2012. They have about 430 customers located in 45 countries. They have experience with multiple industries, mainly in utilities. And the nice thing is they're also located in Irvine, California, over about 1,500 employees. Another nice thing about them is they work with InfoSend, which is our bill printing company, which is really close to Irvine as well. Overall, they provide the most affordable cost for the district and the cheapest rate for our ratepayers. As far as the software design, they used artificial intelligence. Again, Albert Klinger was very helpful with this. We want to make sure our software and hardware is going to be compatible with theirs. And we actually make sure our data files also can convert to our billing process. As far as the customer platform itself, it is very user-friendly. I have used it, and it's easy to navigate. And also, we want to make sure our customers' data is going to be safe and secure. So we want to make sure it's PCI compliance, and making sure the data is also not shared with anyone else.
Well, next up, I want to just share a little bit about the convenience fee portion of it. As we indicated, there's savings in two areas, cutting the Tyler cost, and the second is going through and charging a convenience fee for our customers. Right now, the district has 10 payment options, and the costliest option is credit cards. In this proposed approach is we're not messing around with any of the other payment options. They will all remain free. The only one that we're making any adjustment on or proposed adjustment is for the credit card. And the reason for that is only certain customers are using the credit cards. And what happens is those costs go into the overall cost of the district. The district is paying for those, but yet only a portion of the customers are doing it. And all the customers are paying for those people that want the privilege of using their credit card. This creates a situation that's known as subsidization. So in other words, the people that are using the credit cards are getting part of their cost covered by everybody else. So we feel that this is a fair and equitable approach to charge them basically the cost of the credit card charge back to them. We found from discussions with iPay Smart, and we also did a survey, that there's a large number of utilities that are now doing it, and there's others that are looking at it. According to John Levis, who's our consultant with iPay Smart, about 50% of his clients have already implemented what we're proposing tonight, or are in process of doing it. So we're not the first kids on the block to do it, but we're not late to the game either. We're kind of right in the middle. The customers still have the ability to pay by credit card. We're not taking that option away. We're just saying, if you don't want to use any of the 9 free options, then you will pay for it. And it's not that big a price, but it does cover the cost. And if you look at it, to us, that's $238,000 a year savings. As I said, the district still has 9 free options, and with iPay Smart, we'll get another option, so we'll have 10. As Alberto mentioned, we have the text and pay option, so that will be the 10th free option. So people have lots of options to pay. The only one that really costs us a lot of money is the one we're asking them to pay for. Next slide.
So this list is the 9 customer payment options that we currently have, and then plus the 10th one, which is text and pay, which is going to be the newest one. So customer again will have 10 different options to make a payment. As Bill was saying, credit card online payment will still be available. It's just going to be a charge of $2.25, and right now that is one of the cheapest rate that we can find out there. We also did a convenience fee survey. So we contacted different water retailers, water districts just like us, cities with water departments, and any publicly owned utilities. So this list, there's 18 on this list, and West Valley is one of them. And as you can see, convenience fee starts at $2 all the way to $4.50. We are actually at the cheapest in the spectrum there. And so we're proposing $2.25. So like I mentioned again, this is one of the cheapest rate out there.
I'd just like to add that this is something that we work very hard for our ratepayers to try to get it to that level. As John could attest to, we were, I thought, good negotiators in this process, and we appreciate their willingness to work with us, and they've guaranteed the rate for the length of the contract. So I feel very proud to have worked on this project. iPaySmart has been an excellent vendor to work with, and they provide a top-notch platform that'll be great for our customers. Next slide.
So we also want to share with you a cost comparison before and after if we switch with iPaySmart and adopt the conveniency fee model. So as you can see, the grand total of saving there is about over $500,000 a year. And that's about 2% of our operating costs annually. If we sign a 5-year agreement with iPaySmart, that's about $2.5 million of savings. You guys have any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So, and I'm just thinking about like people who, I think one of the proposals was that the bills are now going to be electronically, they're no longer going to be paper?
No, you still have the opportunity and the option to do paper. It's purely a customer choice. What we're going to attempt to do is to do marketing to move more people to go paperless. But if you want to remain with paper, that's your choice. We're not going to make any change in where it's a all or nothing type proposition. You'll still have the freedom of choice.
So, is there going to be like for example, with other credit cards, when you go paperless, they give you, you know, a discount or something. For this, is it just going to be like a choice of just, you know, let's be paperless as an option?
It will be a choice as paperless as option, but we may run a campaign where there will be some inducement to get people to switch over. We haven't gotten to that level of detail, but we are looking at doing something like that. That would be an incentive for people to go over and make the switch.
And my second question to that is are we capable to have that much data, like for everybody to log in and get information on their accounts?
Yeah, the data that we already have is the same data on the customers. It's just running through a different software. So there's no change in the amount of data that we have on a customer.
So right now people can start switching and just go online and make a payment and do auto pay?
It'll be transparent to you. You won't recognize any difference. The only thing is if you choose to pay online, you'll see a different face to the system. But everything else is the same. What we're doing is we're going through what we call a streamlining process, and they actually have more functionality that we now have with Tyler.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So if not, let's go to the next slide.
I had a question.
We have a question.
Bill, I had one question. Assume when we go to this new program, about how many days or weeks does it take for iPaySmart to be active within the district?
Well, I don't know quite the answer to that. That'll be a John Levis question, and so I'd like to introduce John. And this is every entity is different, but he can maybe give you some anecdotal information based upon other clients.
Yes, I can answer that question. So we actually just had our pre-IT project meeting yesterday, and we just received the test data. So we'll be analyzing that sample data. We'll start the project. We're shooting for third week of April, and we've given a timeline of 10 weeks.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions at this point of the presentation?
So let me go through and do a final wrap up. I think. Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
I only have one comment. It's about time. Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it, and there's been a lot of hard work internally by the team, and we really appreciate it. So, I think let's do a quick wrap up. We are requesting the board tonight to enter into a 5-year agreement with iPaySmart, and again, they are a very large, reputable firm, and they're getting a toehold in our area. by having us in Eastern. I think they're looking to further expand. As we indicated, our goal, ultimate goal, is to have it online July 1 up and running. We may get it done earlier, but the old saying is you want to under promise and over deliver, and so that's what we're going to try to do here. Part of that is, as Angie, you mentioned, we're going to have a marketing program. We'll go over the details of that with the idea of increasing auto pay enrollment, increase paperless billing, and then the implementation of the convenience fee. We want to get that out there ahead of time and start doing some upfront information to our customer base so they're aware of the changes that will be coming. We don't want to hit them cold right away, so we're going to do a proper rollout. We'll be working with Socorro and in the media area and making sure that we follow the protocols that John's used on other clients.
If I may, just real quickly,
Sure.
Mr. Chair, I would say, I would presume that part and parcel of the recommendation is to enter into the 5-year agreement with iPaySmart, and also to make the appropriate changes to your water service rules and regulations to actually state that in there. That can be, would you agree that that's part and parcel of what we're doing?
That's correct, and we'll probably need some help on that, Jeff.
All right. But I mean, that's part of what you would be
Yeah.
approving.
So if any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not,
Any other questions from board members? I'll just say that I know that Dan and I worked really closely with the finance committee, and I just want to really thank Alberto, Gus, Bill, Albert, all of you for your hard efforts in going through this process. It took us quite a few months to talk about it and then actually find the companies, have them each come in and present it, and I'm very pleased that we're at this point tonight and that we're looking to save the ratepayers quite a bit of money, which will definitely help us as we look towards the future fiscally as a agency for the coming years. So I just want to commend everybody's hard work on this, so thank you all. Really do appreciate your excellent drive to try to find ways for us to cut our cost.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I also want to say we tried to get our mascot here too.
Yeah, a little prelude to the next item, but first and foremost, would anyone like to make the motion then to adopt the recommendation?
Yes, I motion that we adopt the recommendation.
I'll second.
And we have a first and a second, and do you
Which
want to
includes-
clarify what
well, which
yeah.
would include making the appropriate changes to the rules and regulations.
Yep, okay.
Thank you.
All right, any discussion? Nope, not seeing any. All right, go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you. Director Garcia?
Yes.
Director Moore?
Yes.
Director Hawkins?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
And President Young?
Yes.
That passes 5-0.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you so much, and we look forward to working with you and getting it up and going. Thank you. All right, so now we'll go to item number 9, which should be a fun one, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully not too contentious, but selecting the name of the West Valley Water District mascot.
Good evening, President Young, Vice President Jenkins, members of the board. As previously presented, we presented the idea of the mascot to the board and given direction to contact our local schools for the naming contest. We did contact schools and received over 50 entries from local elementary schools for our mascot name. Through the entry, staff voted on the top 4 that we forward to the board today. So as you see, I can go in detail about the names, but we Hallie and Henry for H2O, Dropletta and Drip, River and Creek, Drippy and Droppy. So I don't know. Would the board like me to go kind of over the stories of the students for the names?
Oh, there were stories?
There were stories.
Oh, okay. If you can make it a quick story, because I know we got several other items tonight.
I will go as fast as I can.
Yeah.
From Abigail. I think Charlie... So originally, Charlie Conservationist will be a perfect name for the new boy mascot. I have a few reasons why I think the name would be good. The first reason is that it's catchy. My second reason is that it says what he does. Here's a fun fact. His favorite color is blue. That's why I think his name should be Charlie Conservationist. She gave us more options, so that's why we went with Haley and Henry, but we can kind of change the story. In my opinion, the new girl mascot should be Charlie Conservationist. For short, the name is great because it's similar to her brother's name. Next reason, it's also catchy. A fun fact, that's why I think the name should be Charlie Conservationist. Some other names I had were Haley and Henry H2O. So that's an option we went up there. The second option, in my opinion, I think the boy name should be Drip the Droplet. I think this because drip means a water droplet or water. The name would be perfect name for the mascot. The name Drip would be the definition of drops of water, and the mascot would be a droplet. So I think would be a good name for him. My last reason why I think this name is good for the mascot is because it would be easier to remember and spell. But that's not the only reason why I think this. The reason why I think it's because for a mascot that looks like a droplet, it would be perfect and specific name for this Drip. In my opinion, I think the girl's name should be Dropletta. I think this because Dropletta is a name for a water droplet specifically. Dropletta lives with her brother Drip and her friends. My last reason why I think it's because it was her first thing that came to me, and I think it would be a fit for her. Dropletta is kind, generous person, and she can help you anytime, and she will help save water and stop it from being wasted. This is why I think this name fits her. The next one is, in my opinion, the girl's mascot for the water conservation name should be River. I think her name should be River because it means water, so it makes sense for her name to be River. Another reason, River is a pretty name, and I hope you think so too. This is why I want the girl's mascot name to be River. In my opinion, the boy mascot name for the water conservation should be Creek. I think his name should be Creek because it rhymes like Creek the Conservation. Creek came from a big wave in the movie. I'm going to skip that one. Another reason why the mascot should be named Creek is because he likes to eat Chick-fil-A. And I do too. And the last one is, in my opinion, the name for the girl mascot should be Drippy. The reason that I believe her name should be Drippy is because it makes sense. Drippy is married and has a kid named Droplet. Drippy was born in a cloud. Drippy is an amazing role model, not only as a mother, but as a principal, sister, daughter, animal rights activist, and a water conservationist. Drippy is very social and kind. Most of her neighbors love her. This is why I believe her name should be Drippy. I believe the boy's mascot's name should be Droppy. The reason I think the mascot's name should be Droppy is because it sounds like the name a water drop would have. Droppy is married to Drippy and has a kid named Droplet. Droppy is Droppy's father's son, real estate agent.
Wow.
Animal rights activist and water conservationist. This is why I think the mascot's name should be Droppy. So we can, these are the 4 names. We can obviously edit them, kind of mold them. But the winner will be visited by our mascot that visited you last meeting. So
those are some very creative backstories.
We will edit them and refine them.
Okay, so these are kind of the choices here. Does anyone have any thoughts on what they like?
Oh my Lord.
Let me bring that slide back. Yeah, there you go. Your microphone.
Well, let me just.
I like the storyline behind Drippy and Droppy. But there's a storyline there, and they got really out there with it.
Drippy.
I'll have to think about it some more, though.
I guess I was going with Drip and Droplet. Was my favorite too.
So, my favorite one is Drip because it's easy, and Dropletta. I mean, is there an accent on one of those? Dropletta or Dropetta? Those are the ones. That's what I like.
Channing, any thoughts on your end?
I like River and Creek just because they kind of.
Yeah, I kind of like them too.
River and Creeky.
Well, which one's a girl? The river or the creek?
Well, they said
Well,
River
they
was the
kinda-
girl.
They kind of, I mean, we're in 2024. So, you know, River and Creek is good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough.
Well,
River and
and
Creek is good
then
enough.
we do get water from Lytle Creek. So, I don't know. I think we have some interesting choices here. Now, are you wanting us to make a final decision tonight then? Is that the recommendation?
Yes, because
Okay.
it'll be unveiled at Earth Day, so we
Okay.
need to get the names printed.
Okay, so just as a discussion, I've never seen a girl with the name River or Creek.
River, yeah.
River Phoenix, but that was a
That's a
man.
guy, but River is a-
River-
yeah, definitely.
River could
I've
be
heard
a girl.
River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we can do a combination of two names. We get two students to win.
River and Drip.
River and Dropletta.
But if River's the girl,
Oh, it is?
Then there's two girls now.
A river would be.
River and Creek. I mean, it's
Well, how about Haley and Creek? Haley and Drip. But Drippy, no, that just doesn't sound good for a girl. Just saying. Or Droppy.
like I said, maybe River and Drip. The girl could be River and Drip could be the boy. And I don't know.
Oh.
Well, I'll leave that to your leadership.
I'm not.
I'm just trying to
Look at
get
that.
we're kind of a mixed thoughts right now.
I don't
There's no
I don't like
consensus.
River for a girl. So I'm just saying it.
Well, we could make River the boy.
I think well I'll let you pick the boy, but I don't like River for the girl. I'll do Haley or Dropletta. You guys pick one of the two.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest. I appreciate suggestion of Dropletta, and I appreciate the effort that goes into that. But it's not my favorite name on the list. It's not by far. Yeah, Dropletta is kind of
it's different.
Kind of tough.
It's different.
I just gotta, my 8-year-old and my 5-year-old definitely, they just gave me feedback. They did not like Dropletta. So I'm bound. No, I have never.
Is it the 8 and 5-year-old that are making the little squigglies on our screen right now?
I don't know who's doing that, but
So what was
I'm
their
kinda sticking with my
thoughts?
guns on
River and Creek?
I'm sticking with my guns on River and Creek.
Yeah, I can get behind River and Creek. If
All right, River and Creek
others-
is fine by me.
River and Creek.
I'm kind of sorry, but so River? What's the other one outside of Dropletta? You said
Haley. River and Haley.
River and Haley.
Oh, Haley and Creek.
Haley and Creek. What do y'all think? Compromise position.
What's the story behind Haley?
Yeah, because
I don't. Yeah,
what's
what's the
Haley's
That's
comment?
Eminem's
What's
daughter.
going on?
Eminem.
She didn't really have a story.
Yeah, so there was no real
Marshall
backstory
Mathers. Eminem. Daughter's name is Haley. Y'all don't know that?
What?
All right,
Marshall
so-
Mathers' daughter is named Haley Eminem. Y'all never heard of the guy?
Oh yeah,
Eminem, yes, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
He
there
has a
really
song called
wasn't.
Haley.
Yeah, so there really wasn't a backstory for Haley and Henry, and I mean, I guess
They would make H2O, so that was kind of this.
That'd be the last name then.
Haley and Henry H2O. H2O.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haley and Creek H2O. Be the last name, I guess.
That's their last name?
Yeah, H2O.
Haley H2O.
But the story was really Charlie, right? Then Henry.
These were suggestions. We can mold the story to
Later,
fit
yeah.
the district, but give the kids a credit for
Yeah, it'd be
giving
two-
his idea.
It would be 2 kids instead
'Cause-
of just 1.
Henry. Yeah.
Maybe 2
I
schools.
like Charlie. That's why that was the original one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just whatever. I just don't like Drippy Droppy, and I don't like River Fur Girl. Then you guys can do the rest.
Haley and Creek.
So my
Alright,
legal
yeah.
advice is that you should take a motion just for the record that
Yes.
you adopt.
I'll make
Someone want to make a motion?
Make a motion. I'll make a motion to make Haley the
Yeah,
girl.
normally we have
and
really
Creek the boy.
I'll second that
There you
motion.
go.
Normally we have such fun decisions up here like money, but this is a new one for sure. All right, so who was the first then?
I did.
Be Angie.
Okay, so it's a motion for Haley and Creek. And you
I
second.
second that.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All right, go ahead and call the roll.
Thank you. Director Garcia,
Yes.
Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Hawkins,
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins,
Yes.
and President Young.
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Haley and Creek, thank you.
All right, now that the controversial items
Yeah,
behind
the
us.
most difficult decision.
Socorro, you know what names to order now. Now you just have to come up with an interesting backstory in the next few weeks.
Will do. Thank you so much.
All right, item 10.
Yeah, the mid-year budget review, the extensive details were brought to the Finance Committee, and Bill has a summary presentation on this tonight. Bill?
Thank you, John. And directors, I look forward to sharing this information with you. Next slide, please. First off, I wanted to let you know that the objectives for this review are such that under best practices from the GFOA, this is an item that we should be doing on a semi-annual basis or even more frequently. In fact, we do that with the Finance Committee. We look at each month at our financial activity. But for the board, this is supposed to be a mid-year, but in actuality, what we're doing is we're looking at 8 months worth of information as opposed to 6. So you're getting a little bit later snapshot, but you're getting something closer to the end of the fiscal year. So I think it's meaningful. As Greg had mentioned to me, I'd like to have it a little bit earlier, Bill. So we'll make sure that happens next time. So the objectives we wanted to do was, one, to share with you the general fund activities. And then also, if there's any adjustments that we're proposing, and in fact, we do have some classification adjustments only. And then this helps us get gauged up for our next fiscal year budget. And we'll go over a calendar at the end of the presentation. Next slide after that, please. One more slide. So we'll give you a summary of the activity through February. There's positive news. First off, we have no budget impact. Everything is basically a reclassification. That's internal adjustments within the departments. That's moving stuff from one account to another account. And it's really done based upon the needs of the department. When you go into a budget 12 months ago, you oftentimes anticipate something, but there are changes as we shift priorities. As such, we did have shifting, and it's 18 reclassifications adding up to 866,000, of which none of them have a financial impact. It's just changing from one account to another account to better spend the funds. We have no net increase in our capital budget, so there's no change that's being proposed. Overall, our revenues are on target. That's a good sign. Actually, I have good news when we get to revenues more in detail. The rain has had some impact to us, and hopefully we don't get too much more rain because we want to sell water. Because as you know, when it rains a lot, people don't water their lawn as much. But at the same time, being good stewards of the water, this allows us to put it into our reservoirs and into our tanks for future need. The departments are basically holding our line. Everybody's very conscious, and in fact, when you see the details, I think you'll be very impressed with that. When we budgeted, we thought that our CIP would be funded partly through our regular operations and partly through reserves, but I think we're going to be able to fund it all through operations because we're doing better than we thought. So when we did this slide, we felt that we were on target, but we might be a little bit ahead of target. Taking a look at the overall scheme, this is taking a look at all revenues and all expenses. In this slide, when you see green, that means it's a positive development for us. And when we take a look at our revenues, we do an analysis where we're looking at where we are as of February 29th. That's our most recent fiscal period ending. We compare that to our budget for that period. You can get a good feel where we're at. And then we do the next thing is a forecast. The forecast is taking into account any encumbrance activity, known activity, and then our remaining budget for the remaining months. So when you get a forecast, I think we're going to be at the end of the year. Then we do a comparison to our budget, and we come out either with a plus or minus. In our case of our revenues, we're going to be almost $6 million ahead. We'll get into some of the details of that, but that's a 16% positive variance. On our expenses, we forecast by the end of the year we're going to be at 28.6 million. Our budget is 32.4, so we're going to have 3.8 million positive variance. So the two of those really add up to a nice whopping at the end of the year. We're going to have a surplus. That's what we're forecasting. And when we get close and we share this, and when we do our budget presentation, we'll have another update. And it may be better, may be worse, but that's what we're looking at right now. So it's 10.7 million positive on the revenue side. So that adds up to a whopping number. And 330% looks like a lot, but when you take 10 million over the 3 million, that's what the number you get. So two positive outcomes that we have on the revenue side is our investment income. We've done that aggressive approach by getting into the treasuries, going on short term. We're getting about 5 to 5.5% on our investments. We're making a lot of money. As long as interest rates stay robust like they are right now, we're going to continue to do well. And then we had that one-time land sale where there was a $2 million profit. So those did help us. Next slide. This is a further breakdown of the revenues into the categories that we show on our financial statements. Again, when we have green, that's a positive development. When we have the black, that means it's not so positive, but it's not necessarily bad. Taking a look at our domestic water consumption sales, that's a big ticket item for us because that's basically the water that's being sold to our customers. We're almost on target. We're less than 1/10. We're just like 1/10 of 1% off. So it shows that our forecasting and our budgeting is pretty right on. Again, it could go up or down depending on weather. But right now it looks like we're almost dead on match where we should be. Our monthly service charges just show a slight uptick of 2%. That really accounts for the growth that the district's seen through the new construction. And our property taxes basically a slight uptick again because of the growth that's occurred. We've gotten a little bit higher property taxes than we thought. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the biggest uptick right there is the $3.7 million positive. So this year so far, our forecast is $5.8 million that we're going to make on our investments. That's basically putting money into the short-term T-bills, putting them into short-term government bonds, and it's really been a winner for us. So at the end of the year, we're going to really make out quite well by that strategy. And again, as I mentioned previously, that strategy came about by us attending a CSMFO luncheon meeting. And there was a investment advisor who was there and was talking about shifting into that strategy as opposed to putting your money into Lathe. We took that to heart. We came back. We spent some time discussing it with the finance committee. We got the green light, and that's what's happened. So it's been a very positive development, and we appreciate the finance committee giving us the green light to go ahead and implement the program. And then that one-time sale of that land, that was a $2 million positive. So all in all, looks like on the revenue side, we're doing quite well. Next slide. The expenses, we broke it into the major categories, how we account for the expenses in the district. As you well know, under each one of these, there's multiple small accounts that add up to the total, but we wanted to give you the overall operating area so you could see where the positive amounts are. In this case, anyone that's in green, even though the variance is negative, that means we're actually going to spend less than our budget amount, means that's a positive development. We only have two right now that we are in the black area where we're actually spending more than we anticipated. One in general operations, it's going to be a 5% variance of less than 200,000, about 158,000 in our maintenance, transmission, and distribution. And those people in those two particular areas are dependent upon the level of activity that we have. If there's breaks in our lines, things that are uncontrollable, that's what really causes it. But all in all, I think that we've done a really outstanding job. Some of these variances are a result of that we did have vacancies, and we've now filled the vacancies. So as we move forward into next year, we're going to have to account for the fact that we are going to be staffed more at the full manpower level that we anticipated. But all in all, if you take a look at the operating expenses, we're going to be approximately 12% under budget. So that's $3.8 million savings. So all in all, I think that kudos go out to the people in the departments. They're spending their money and they're taking care of the initiatives that they have to make sure that the district's operating at its optimal capacity. Next slide. This next slide here is the operating expenses by department. This is basically showing the orange is the total budget for that particular area, and then we're breaking it down by the blue is where they've spent year to date. So you can kind of see where they're gauging along the way. Again, this is accounting for 8 months activity versus a 12 months budget. So you can see that we're chugging along and we're actually in a good positive situation. Next slide. I'm going to now turn this over to Gustavo. He's going to talk about our capital improvement plan, and then he's going to do a wrap up on the budget calendar for us.
Good evening, President Young and members of the board. So some of the highlights that I have for the updated capital budget are that the current budget includes rollover funds from fiscal year 22-23. The year-to-date activity includes funds spent plus encumbrances or work in progress. 3 approved capital projects post-adoption have been included in the updated capital budget, and those were approved by the board. So these have received board approval. The great news that I have for you guys today is that based on the year-to-date actuals, the amount as of February 29th, the district will be able to fund 6.9 million of its capital projects without using any reserves. Now in the budget, we projected that we were only going to be able to fund 3.2 million. So that is a major advancement. So if you look at the report, pretty much these 2 items are going to be able to be fully funded by revenues from operations. The next steps that we have for recommendation to the board is that we recommend the board to adopt the budget adjustments, and based on our actuals and forecasts, the management team plans to start the budget preparations for fiscal year 24-25 in this month of March. Then we plan to present a budget draft to the Finance Committee in May, and as is common, our goal is to adopt the fiscal budget for fiscal year 24-25 in June. Thank you.
Okay.
I guess to wrap it up, this was a good news story tonight. We feel that the district as a whole has been very fiscally responsible in the spending, but also the stewardship of our funds to make sure that we're maximizing interest investment opportunities for us. So it's a good thing. It's still, we have to watch it, and because it can get away from you real quick. And I really appreciate all the work that Linda has done with her staff and making sure that they're doing the work they need to do and still remaining fiscally within the bounds that we've set forward for them.
Well, and certainly I would like to commend all of the supervisors and managers and all the departments for, practicing good cost control measures to keep these expenses below what we had originally budgeted. That's always a very positive thing. So just my thanks to everyone across the board there for their efforts. Does anyone have any questions on the mid-year? Thankfully, they're not asking for more money, just to approve the adjustments, so that's always nice.
I just want to say thank you. I know that took a lot of work to put this presentation together, so I do appreciate all the hard work.
Well, thank you very much, and I'd like to also recognize Gus for his efforts in this area. He's basically the shepherd of our budget. He's the one that really makes sure that everyone's on task with the budget, provide the information timely to us, and he's done an outstanding job in making sure that we're meeting the district's goals of being fiscally responsible.
Well, thank you, Gus.
Thank you, Gus.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Gus.
All right. We have an item before us. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the mid-year adjustments.
I motion that we adopt the mid-year adjustments.
Do I have a first? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, first by Jenkins, a second by Garcia. No discussion, so go ahead and call
Thank
the
you.
roll.
We'll take a vote. Director Garcia?
Yes.
Director Moore?
Yes.
Director Hawkins?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
And President Young?
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, and we look forward to the full budget here in a few months. All right. John, number 11.
Temporary field workers, 1,000-hour employees. We brought this item forward to two committees and the Finance Committee, and they wanted us to bring that forward tonight for approval. This is to approve the hiring of two 1,000-hour temporary field workers. So these field workers will help us out in many ways. It'll help our field crews accelerate our asset management work and help us repair leaks and reduce our water loss numbers. And they'll supplement our own crews so that our crews can participate in career development, cross-training programs, et cetera. And third, this program will also help us reach our strategic goal to expand local workforce development. So really those three things. We're going to be engaging with local schools and IE Works in our recruiting efforts. And the costs for these positions are included in the budget adjustments that were just approved. So we would like to continue this program thereafter, and those costs will show up in the proposed budget for fiscal 25 for your review and approval. And just a side note, we currently have 8 current employees that started in the temporary worker program. So it's a great way for us to really test drive future potential employees. So with that, there's an extensive write-up. I can answer questions, but I think I'll leave my presentation there.
Okay. Any questions on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion on the item.
I motion that we direct John to continue with the 1,000-hour employees or postings.
I think approve the addition of the
Excuse me, approve the addition.
2 temporary.
2 temporary positions, sure.
Okay, we have a first. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, first by Jenkins, a second by Moore. If there's no questions or discussion,
We'll take a vote. Thank you. Director Garcia?
Yes.
Director Moore?
Yes.
Director Hawkins?
Yes.
Vice President Jenkins?
Yes.
And President Young?
yes.
That passes 5-0. Thank you.
All right, that concludes our business matters. So take us to reports. Does anyone have any events that they need to report that was not on the normal schedule for billing purposes this evening?
I have 2 meetings I want to report.
Okay.
I met with Fontana City officials, and on March 16th, I attended a river cleanup event that was sponsored by the UCR Chicano Latino Alumni Project in the in Riverside.
Anyone else have anything that's not on the schedule to report?
I'd like to report on the 8th, both Director Calvin Moore and I attended the Bloomington Little League opening. It was a really nice event, sponsored by the Bloomington Little League, and Supervisor Joe Bach was there. Additionally, both Director Moore and I attended the San Jose WELL, which is Water Education for Latino Leaders, 12th Annual Conference. It was very informative with a community of other leaders in the water area.
All right. Anyone else?
And then I want to state here, I did not make the Bloomington Little League or the WELL, but I did make the ASBCD at the Basque place.
Central Bass.
Central Bass. The soup was wonderful. I didn't get to make it all the way through everything, but it was pretty good, and I can't wait to go back. Also on the 19th, 19th, I had a meeting with council regarding ongoing litigation, and on the 13th as well. Not our general counsel, was special counsel.
You have anything, Calvin?
Yeah, on the 8th, it was Bloomington Little League opening day, as Vice President stated. Also, the WELL Conference, San Jose. Actually got my pin, so I'm pinned now. And then the ASB CSD meeting on the 18th, and then today we did the Fontana Chamber as well.
I had one other correction, please. I forgot to mention North Rialto Little League. I was there on the 9th.
Okay. Well, and certainly I'd like to thank Vice President Jenkins and Director Moore for standing in for me at the Bloomington Little League. Unfortunately, they always seem to have their opening day events on the same week that I always have a hospital conference every year at. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to make it the last few years, but I'm glad that we had several of you in attendance, and the pictures looked really great, and I'm glad to see that we now have a banner on the field. So that's awesome. All right, any board committee reports this evening? Nope. Okay. Just general board reports. Does anyone have anything that they need to report?
I just want to thank the staff for the job that they're doing. We've had the opportunity to work with this new executive team. I think we're kind of having everybody in place. We're almost coming up on a year. New council, new general manager, new CFO, new assistant general manager, new public affairs manager, and so forth. And so it really feels like the team is starting to gel and come together. I also want to thank and acknowledge my colleagues for their leadership and expertise that they've been exhibiting, over the course of the last, I think, year and a half. You folks have been on the board or something like that. I don't know how long, but it's, and just the place we're in at this moment feels very good, and I'm very fortunate to be able to be a part of the team.
Excellent.
Oh, also, more importantly, I love all y'all, but we won't have a meeting before March 28th, which is my wife's birthday, and so I want to acknowledge on the record her birthday. Also, my brother's birthday is on the same day. My brother Armand Hawkins, my wife Daphne Hawkins, and my niece Ariana Hawkins, all on the same day.
Wow.
So, knowledge, yeah, they're all, yeah, I love them all.
And since we're mention that the 31st, which is a Sunday, which also happens to be Easter, my little one Jared will be 4 years old on that day. So since it's before the meeting, I want to mention his name.
Anything else? All right, I just have two things tonight. Number one, Vice President James, apply first chair next meeting, because I'm going to actually take a vacation, y'all. So
Hey,
I will.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had one in a while, and I've been working really hard at the hospital, so I'm looking forward to it. But I will be quite indisposed for the next meeting, so y'all can have fun without me. But I'll be back after that. But I did want to highlight and share a email that John and Socorro and I received this morning from Jamie from Tertian Associates. So one of the meetings that I believe it was one of our last meetings that Dan was with Norma Torres's office, and found that that she's actually been very interested in the nitrate issue and had previously entered a bill for consideration. And so Jamie forwarded to us an email from her office today in which they discussed that today Congresswoman Torres and Congressman Valadeo will be introducing the Nitrate and Arsenic in Drinking Water Act, which is a historic bill that will create a grant program to address excessive nitrate and arsenic in drinking water to help the needs of drinking water in the Inland Empire. And it's a fairly lengthy email, so I won't read it all, but one of the things that says at the end what the bill will do will amend the Safe Drinking Water Act to provide grants for nitrate and arsenic reduction for fiscal year 24 and years beyond, and then to also direct the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency to conduct a review to the extent a state in administering programs under the Safe Drinking Water Act take into consideration equity to improve equity outcomes, including taking into consideration the diverse needs of poor and underserved populations. And certainly considering the percentage of our district that is considered a disadvantage, how we're impacted by the nitrates in particular. I'm very pleased to see her introducing this legislation with Congressman Valadeo, and look forward to working with John and Socorro. I would recommend maybe even working with the External Affairs Committee as far as maybe a letter of support for the Congresswoman's bill. And certainly we can try to look to also encourage some of our neighbors to do the same, because we definitely want to get behind her on this effort and to try to help her out, especially with some of the wonderful meetings that we had in DC with the other members of the delegation. So I think we can help her out by leveraging our connections with those offices to make them aware of the bill that she is going to be sponsoring. So I did want to share that with everybody because I think it was perfectly timed after our very successful trip to DC. So I did want to share that. So we just found that out this morning. So with that, we'll move on to General Manager report.
Thank you. I'll just have a few brief updates. Staffing and recruitments. Our current recruitments, Public Outreach and Government Affairs Representative, 12 applicants interviewed last week. Second interviews are set up for next week for the top 3 candidates. And with Mary Jo's promotion, we'll have another opening, and we started advertising for that, I think 2 days ago. We have a new opening for Water Systems Operator 1 in distribution. We do have 5 current employees who are operator assistants, which is our entry-level position. So this will be a promotion for them. They're interested in this promotional opportunity, and we want to support them in that. So per our policy, if we have at least 3, we can keep this in internal recruitment. So that's what we're planning to do. Looking forward to that opportunity for them. Director of Engineering, that advertisement closed on March 11th, and we're reviewing applications and getting ready to set up interviews for that. And with your approval earlier tonight, we'll start our recruitment for temporary field workers. And then finally, I just wanted to mention we launched our own employee development program at the all hands meeting on Tuesday. So I sent the board an email with some of those planned documents. So certainly the program was very well received, and the presentation, of course, a lot of enthusiasm about this program and what it means for staff and their career development, but also succession planning, business continuity, and community workforce development. So checking a lot of boxes. Looking forward to that. And one more thing, I recently met with the new City of Rialto City Manager, David Carmody, and with East Valley Water District General Manager Michael Moore, and also with IEUA General Manager Shivaji. I think I'll end it there.
Okay. All right. Thank you, John. All right, legal.
And I have some things that can certainly wait till the next meeting. You've had a long meeting with some weighty issues, so I want to let you guys go home. Thanks.
All right. All right. So I will just point out before we close out that we do have the Earth Day coming up here soon. So definitely want the community to mark their calendars for that. And we are adjourned.
All right.
You're too slow.
Big meeting. Thank you.
It was.